What's going on, Bulls Nation? You found yourselves locked on Bulls. I'm Matt. That's Big Dave. Up ahead on today's Wednesday episode, news just dropped. The investigation has reached a conclusion, and the Bulls pretty much just got away with the speeding ticket for acquiring Lonzo Ball this offseason. We're breaking down every element of this latest news here on Locked on Bulls. Let's go.
You are Locked On Bulls, your daily podcast on the Chicago Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. Here are your hosts, Matt Peck and Big Dave Watson.
What's up, and welcome into Locked On Bulls, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. I'm Matt Peck. You can follow me on Twitter at Bulls_Peck. You can follow my co-host, Big Dave Watson, at BAWL Sports. And you can follow us at Locked On Bulls. You can also hit us up on that text to voicemail line, 331-979-1369. Today's episode is brought to you in part by TrueBill. TrueBill is the new app that saves you money by helping you identify and stop paying for the subscriptions you don't want or need. Start canceling today at truebill.com/lockedonnba. And we thank you for making Locked On Bulls your first listen every day. Big Dave, it's that time of year. I always love this. I forget about it, and then I'm reminded we have reached December, the final month of 2021. And we start getting those screenshots from our listeners on Twitter saying, hey, here's how many episodes of Locked On Bulls I've listened to. Here's how many minutes of my life I have spent listening to Locked On Bulls. And I am both shocked and humbled by those tweets. We appreciate y'all for listening. Dave, how are you?
I'm wonderful. I just told you on break I had an incredible shower. I feel great. But you're right. You're right, though, Matt, because Spotify, shout out to them, because it is genius how much I look forward to seeing my own brain, say on display. So, but you're right. When you see it, on Twitter and just people like, yeah, you're the number one podcast I'd listen to. That's just like, wow to me. You know what I mean? Like, really? That's so wow. Thank you. You know what I'm saying? Like, you're right. Like, it's wild and it's humbling. And we're very appreciative, honestly.
There's so many podcasts out there. There
so
are
many.
Probably not an exaggeration to say there are millions of podcasts out there. And y'all listening to us, we appreciate it. Speaking of which, before we dive into this news, another quick plug. We mentioned this on a show last week. Speaking of Bulls podcasts and Bulls podcasters, we're doing this event, a live event at the Windy City Bulls game out at Now Arena in Hoffman Estates, December 11th. That's 10 days from now. And we, along with our pal C-Red Fred and a bunch of other Bulls podcasters, will be doing a live, podcast-palooza is what we're calling it, at halftime of that Windy City Bulls game. Tickets are available. If you buy a ticket to that game, you can come hang out with us for our halftime podcast-palooza. I will share the link to get tickets to that event in the episode details, whether it's on YouTube or you're streaming on a podcast app. Dave, 10 days away. You excited, man?
Yeah. I mean, I get to, see you first and foremost. My boy, Chris, aka C-Dub, he'll be in the house too. And then just meeting a bunch of other cool podcasts. Get to sit around and just talk Bulls and then watch the Windy City Bulls because, I'm a basketball fiend. So that'll be my first time going to that arena and seeing them play live.
Maybe watch Marko Simonovic ball out a little bit. Speaking of second round Bulls draft picks, we got to talk about this breaking news from earlier today. The first initial tweet came down from Woj, and here is the official statement from the NBA. The NBA announced today that the Chicago Bulls and Miami Heat each violated league rules governing the timing of this season's free agency discussions, and that the league has directed that each team's next available second-round draft pick be forfeited. These determinations follow investigations into free agency discussions engaged in by the Bulls with respect to Lonzo Ball and by the Heat with respect to Kyle Lowry. So there it is, Big Dave. We've been waiting and waiting and waiting for the results of this league investigation. They're finally here. And despite all of the talk from a lot of different people and a lot of different sources that said the league's finally going to crack down hard. They're trying to do away with tampering. Adam Silver said, yeah, just give me a second rounder. This is by and large fantastic news for the Bulls.
Fantastic news. And Bulls fans, because of who we are and what we've dealt with over the years, are always worst case scenario. It's worst case scenario in the brain of Bulls fans. So we discussed it here. Oh man, what if we got to give up, the first round pick? And oh man, what if we got to give up 2 first round picks? Oh my God, they're trying to destroy the Bulls. We're never gonna do anything. Why would they mess with us when we're so happy now? Bulls fans were freaking out. You know what I mean? Of course, I was like, let's see what happens and chill. But I understand why Bulls fans were worried and very, very concerned. It makes sense. But man, the longer this went on, and I think you and I kept agreeing with this statement, the longer this went on, Matt, the more we were like, yeah, this is good, because if it came out quickly, like they found something, they did it immediately, they would have gone ahead and been on our ass immediately. Right. All right. But the fact it took them so long, you know what I mean? Just to even cross every T and dot every I, it was just good. It was just a good thing that it took a while. And a second round pick, are you kidding me? Yeah, you go ahead and take that. You can have that. You know what I'm saying? Keep the change, as I said on Twitter. Keep the change. You cool. Roll with that. It's yours. Have it.
Woj had another tweet after his initial newsbreaker saying that the league told the teams in a memo that both the Bulls and Heat, quote, fully cooperated with the investigations, end quote, and that was taken into account when doling out the penalties. So, we had heard that maybe front office members' cell phones, computers, whatever might be looked at to figure out when these conversations were happening and trying to build out a timeline to see if there were in fact any league violations. And kudos to the Bulls front office and whoever else that they, asked to speak with, asked to get records from, to say, here you go, have at it, take a look, because apparently that was part of the league's decision to, dole out a perhaps less harsh punishment than people were fearing. And I think my favorite part of all of this was the Bulls issuing their official response to the league's findings. And here it was. It was like 2 sentences. The Chicago Bulls cooperated completely with the league in its investigation. We are glad this process has concluded and look forward to the rest of our season. Like you said, Big Dave, the Bulls are like, oh, okay, you're done now? Cool. Thanks. We're moving on.
That is the equivalent of you're fired. We wish you the best of your future endeavors.
Yeah.
That's all that is right there. Man, I love this front office so much because they're shrewd and they're harsh, but they're doing it the right way. And that's the whole key of all of this. As soon as this came out that they would be investigated, like you said, like they just said, the cooperation was full. And I love how when AK was even asked this question. Now, if I remember, Matt, I've only heard him ask maybe once or twice about this investigation. And he was just like, I'm not going to talk about an ongoing investigation. Right. Like, all right, cool. Like, next question. You know what I'm saying? I'm not getting into this because I didn't do anything wrong. And that's just a good feeling knowing that this is the head of our team as far as the organization is concerned, as far as the front office is concerned, man. So, yeah, you're right. Shout out to that entire Bulls front office for doing it like they did.
I think just retroactively, if you go back and say, okay, so instead of Garrett Temple, Sato, a second rounder, and some cash for Lonzo, if you tell us, hey, we're going to give ourselves a leg up on the competition because lots of teams out there are trying to get Lonzo Ball away from New Orleans, throw in another second rounder. Would you do that deal again? I think everybody, 10 out of 10, would recommend, yeah, okay, fine. Second round picks. That's, and that's the other thing, Big David. We'll talk about this a little bit more after the break. You can recoup second round picks. It's not like just because the Bulls, lost this one, and we could talk about how this new front office finds value in the second round and that maybe second rounders are not anything to sneeze at. You lost a second round pick. You can get them back. I think somebody in my Twitter replies was like, hey, I don't know if you know this, but the Bulls, pretty sure you could just buy a second round pick for something called cash considerations. So,
I mean, Matt, this is basically, mild sauce from Harold's, a gift certificate from Lou Malnati's, and a tin of Garrett's popcorn. Like, cool, have at it. Like, it's all right with me. It feels good. It feels great. And yeah, shout out to the Bulls, man. We doing it right.
All right, we got to talk more about this, and we will break down for y'all just exactly what the Bulls' second round pick situation looks like right now, as to when this will eventually be forfeited by the Bulls as the punishment. But first, today's episode is brought to you by Indeed. Indeed. If you're hiring, you need Indeed. Indeed is a hiring partner that gets you what you really want. A short list of quality candidates as fast as possible, because you can do it all. Attract, interview, and hire all at Indeed. Don't struggle on your own to find quality candidates. Indeed can help you hire the right people right now. Indeed partners with you on every step of the hiring process, so you can find talent with the skills you need through tools like Indeed Instant Match assessments and virtual interviews. Indeed makes it easier for star applicants to shine with over 135 assessment tests, from cooking to coding and more. Pick what skills are important to you from over 135 assessments and get a clear view of your top talent's abilities, and do so faster. With Indeed assessments, you can reduce hiring time by 12%, according to Indeed data worldwide. So here's what you do. Get started right now, and they'll give you a $75 sponsored job credit to upgrade your job post at Indeed.com/locked. That's a $75 credit at Indeed.com/locked. Indeed.com/locked. Offer valid through December 31st. Terms and conditions apply. Need to hire? You need Indeed.
It rhymes, so I like it. Listen, guys, Zach Guilford's daughter just had a birthday. Happy birthday to her.
Happy birthday.
And you know exactly what he wanted for her birthday? This is me saying it. Do you know what he wanted for her birthday? Some Built Bars, baby. You know what it is. You want that delicious awesomeness, chocolate-covered goodness that is also good for you. And you can only get that from Built Bar. It is the holiday season, guys, and Built Bar is the new holiday treat. You can feast on some delicious and feel good about it. All right, only 130 calories, only 4 grams of sugar, and plenty, and I mean plenty of protein. And also, you know how they do them flavors of the month. Matthew Peck, can you please tell the people what the flavor of the month at BuiltBar.com is?
White chocolate cheesecake, baby.
White chocolate cheesecake. How can you not want that? How can you not love that? And when you hear that, you're probably thinking, man, that's fattening. Man, that stuff. Nope. Low calorie, low carb, low fat, high protein. So this is what you do. You head over to built.com. That's built.com, and use this promo code LOCK15. All right. Use that and you'll get 15% off your order. You heard me. Using that promo code LOCKED15 will get you 15% off your order at built.com. And remember, there's new surprises going on all month long, y'all. Go ahead, keep rolling with built.com, because it's awesome, baby. Built Bar. Shout out Zach Guilford's daughter. Happy birthday.
Wow, this is fantastic. So as Casey Johnson pointed out, I didn't see it, but he quote tweeted it. The Chicago Bulls official Twitter account, less than an hour after the league's conclusion and announcement of their second round pick penalty, just posted a Lonzo Ball highlight on their Twitter account.
Oh, the petty. Oh, you know what I really wanted them to do, Matt? Would have really been awesome. But I know they couldn't do it because it would have been in bad faith. But release that statement you just read. Release that a minute after that dropped, that they were losing a second round pick. Release that 1 minute after, and that would have been great. But I know they couldn't. It would have been petty, and it would have brought a bad light on everything. But man, it would have made me laugh.
Hey man, I love it. I absolutely love it. Okay, so how exactly will this penalty take effect? Props and shout out to Will Gottlieb. If you aren't following him on Twitter, you should, at Gottlieb. Has recently partnered up with our pal Mark K from Bulls HQ. Hey. He's doing some podcasts with him, making a Bulls podcast return. But so like I went to, as soon as I saw the penalty, went to whatever the website is, like, you know, NBA Real GM, the one that has all the incoming and outgoing draft picks for the next however many years. Yeah. And I looked at the Bulls, you know, situation, and like every pick has a parenthesis, a paragraph and a half long about this team via that team via this team via that trade, and I'm like, oh dear God, my brain exploded. But Will on Twitter broke it down simply for us, so I'm just going to go ahead and rifle through these upcoming years from Will's tweet as he figured it out. 2022 second round pick, the Bulls owed to the Spurs or the Kings via the DeMar DeRozan sign and trade. 2023 second round pick is owed to the Lakers via a previous trade with the Washington Wizards. 2024 second round pick owed to the Pelicans because of the Lonzo trade, not the one that the league just punished us for, but the one that was included in the deal. 2025 second round pick to San Antonio, again for the DeMar DeRozan sign and trade. So as of right now, the Bulls have an incoming second round pick that is protected from pick 31 to pick 46, so the top half of the second round, via Denver in 2022. That means that the Bulls giving, the league their punishment here would be in 2026.
Listen, you don't even know where you're going to be tomorrow. All right. Can you imagine what this team might be in 2026? I don't know. But my goodness, this is so smart. Like, it's just mind blowing to me how intelligent this is, Matt. You know what I'm saying? Like, because I'm sure they weighed all those options. I'm sure the Bulls did a best case and worst case scenario kind of thing. And it feels like they went ahead and went with best case scenario because they were like, well, we didn't do anything wrong. There was nothing that we did incorrectly, but at some way, let's still protect ourselves. Let's still protect what we got here. Second round picks. You know what I've been thinking of since this second round pick, Mac? I don't do this, and I don't do this because I know you do this a lot, but I don't do this, man. But all I was thinking about was the old regime and those second round picks and how much they were coveted and how much they loved them and how much they needed those second round picks. And the fact that all we're giving up is a second round pick and we're losing that in about another, 4 years, 5 years.
Yeah.
It just made me laugh so hard in my head. You know what I'm saying? Just thinking about what the Bulls used to be and where they are right now, that we're giving up a second round pick down the line and it doesn't mean anything to us, where it feels like this would have meant something. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
With this old regime, it would have been a thing. Oh man, we can't give up this second. We got, I don't know. Look at what we got before in the second round. We don't want to give this up anymore. We don't give a crap anymore, dog. Have it, take it. It's yours. We still rolling, and that just is a good feeling. It really is.
Right. And look, like the previous regime, it seemed like they were like split down the brain as far as they picking moments where, second round picks, so valuable. Picks. And then other moments being like, we're trying to get this trade done and you're trying to fleece us, but if we just give you a second round pick, we throw that in, then it'll get the deal done. Okay. Yeah. But those were trades that were not these complicated and successful sign and trades that the Bulls' new regime was executing this offseason. And whereas the previous regime, it seemed, could never figure out the right moments to say, we need this pick, we need to use this pick ourselves, versus here, have this pick. It seemed like anytime they tried to do it, they picked the wrong outcome. Yeah. And again, I think I mentioned this at the top of the show. You can't recoup a second round pick in trades at any point, because guess what? There is already more competence, trade and sign and trade competence being shown to us from this new Bulls front office than anything the old front office ever did. And that's not an exaggeration. That's just that's a bare bone fact. We recouped a first round pick when everybody say, you gave up too many picks for Vooch, or you gave up a pick for DeMar when there wasn't a whole lot of market competition for. Yeah. You got a first round pick from Portland in a Lowry sign and trade when the market for Lowry marketing was zilch nada. Okay. And that was a first round pick that you recouped just because of your creativity and your ability to make deals. Nobody should be worried about, the Bulls are out of second round picks until 2026. Who cares? If the Bulls front office on draft night a year from now, 2 years from now, 3 years from now, it's saying, ooh, there's this guy. He's still on the board. He's sliding. We want him. Will pick up their phone and get a second-round draft pick.
Tell them. Matt, you remember when this offseason first started happening and you were reading things like, well, we know the Bulls need to make moves, but how are they going to be able to do it? They don't have anything. They don't have any assets. They can't make these moves. That's impossible. They're going to stink. And then they made all the moves. Okay, not some, all the moves that they wanted to make, man, and made this team better. So, yeah, trust AK and Eversley, baby. Let them cook. And they, man, that smell, Matt. Oh, the meal is delicious. All right. Aren't you enjoying your damn meal? Aren't you enjoying it, Bulls fans? Don't it taste great? Oh, go get some more gravy on that. It's amazing, man. It's amazing, Matt, watching this front office work. It really is.
There is another question to be asked here, which is essentially what happened to the league cracking down on tampering? What happened to the Bulls and Heat finally being the teams that were going to feel the wrath of the commissioner's office to do away with tampering once and for all?
Yeah.
And where is the league right now when it comes to tampering? I want to talk about that and get your thoughts on it, Big Dave. But first, we got a slate of awesome games on NBA Wednesday night. I think we got 9 NBA games tonight. We've got Thursday Night Football around the corner. If our listeners wanted to maybe get their wallets in on the action a little bit, maybe make some money, maybe pad that wallet. Everybody's holiday shopping right now. You need a little extra dough. Tell our listeners how and where they can make that extra dough by watching sports.
Matt, what an excellent inquisitive question. That was just amazing. I've got the perfect answer for you, sir. It is Bet Online. All right. And they got you covered all season long with more props, more odds, and more lines than ever before. As the football season continues to march to the playoffs and the basketball season is in full swing. And you know what else is starting up, y'all? College basketball. Yeah, college football's going. And you know them bowl games are around the corner. You know you want to get in on that action, so go to Bet Online because they remain your number one spot for all your sports action this season. So head to the new updated desktop or mobile website and sign up today and receive your 50% welcome bonus on your first deposit. You heard me. Just use the promo code Locked On and you will receive your bonus. That promo code is Locked On. Basketball, football, NHL, boxing, UFC, favorite Vegas casino games. Let's turn on the Ocho and see what is happening. If somebody's throwing knives at a board, you can bet on that too. All right. Don't wait. Take advantage, y'all. Take advantage of all the amazing offers available to you and yours for this 2021 season. Bet Online is the fastest and the easiest way to bet all your favorite sports. Bet Online, where the game starts. Sports. Bet Online.
Woo! All right, Dave. So a bigger picture here, zooming out a little bit. Adam Silver, people were saying he's going to crack down this time. The league's going to crack down this time. We got to do away with all this tampering. And everybody, meanwhile, was thinking, yeah, but everybody's tampering and everybody's getting away with it. And I think Bulls fans' frustrations to a point with the old front office were that they weren't skating that line of tampering. And John Paxson even saying in a radio interview, well, what you're suggesting, Mr. Radio Host, sounds like tampering to me, and we don't do that here. So, and Bulls fans being like, dude, come on, everybody's doing it, like a little peer pressure, like it's just a little weed. Just come on, go tamper. It's it's fine. It's not gonna kill you. It's just a little Mary Jane. Come on now, go tamper.
And that devil's lettuce.
and look, if you can't beat them, join them, right?
Yeah.
Everybody's doing it. People wondering, well, like, what about the Russ and the Lakers situation and DeMar and the Lakers? And like, why? It seemed kind of random and arbitrary, like why it was Chicago and Miami that got, pegged for this. We talked maybe about the fact that because it was a sign and trade deal, which is far more complicated than just offering a guy a contract to free agency, that is why the league was like, there's no way you could do this in literally less than 60 seconds. But either way, this is the same punishment that the league handed out, whatever it was, a year ago, 2 years ago, to Milwaukee on a failed attempt to get Bogdanovich.
Yes.
And so it's like, okay, they took a second round pick from Milwaukee. This was players maybe more noticed. And I guess you could say Lonzo and Kyle Lowry both have more name star power than Bogdanovich, a bigger deal.
Sure.
And they were successful negotiations where those players actually ended up with those teams. So that's why people expected, hey, bigger punishment coming here. Could be first round pick. Could be several. To you, big picture, bottom line, why is it that you think the punishment was as lenient as it is? Does the league just kind of want to pretend to take a stance on tampering and really understand that it's good for the league?
I think the answer for me, Matt, is because they didn't find too much. And I think that's what it is there. You can't bring a sledgehammer down on an ant. You know what I'm saying? And I think that's really what that is. If they gave up a second round pick, that means that is exactly what was warranted. And that's exactly what it was supposed to be. Now, if it was more than that, then yeah, I think that it would have been bigger. They would have made an example out of the Bulls. And I think people were ready for that. And you said you said this perfectly, Matt. It was the name power of everything. With those two names, Kyle Lowry and Lonzo Ball, those names alone, those were going to be the biggest names involved in something like this as far as tampering is concerned. So they're like, if those are the big name guys and you want to crack down on tampering and you guys are investigating these guys for it, boom, go ahead, take everything they got from them. But the difference is the punishment has to fit the crime. You know what I'm saying? And that's the bottom line of all of this. Bogdan was, man, you're right. Nobody was really big deal about, you know what I'm saying, Bogdanovich. Nobody was really big deal about it. And they were like, okay, give us a second round pick. It's the Milwaukee Bucks too. I think also the organizations, I don't think that that should go unnoticed in this either, Matt. I think the organizations and where they are and where they play mattered in this also. And why people were saying they're going to crack down hard on these teams, because this is the Chicago Bulls and this is the Miami Heat. This isn't the Sacramento Kings and the Milwaukee Bucks. You know what I'm saying? Those two names, as far as team-wise are concerned, are much bigger names. So you got teams that with much bigger names, you got players with much bigger names. So they wanted much bigger penalties, but it has to fit the crime. And it obviously did not, because AK and Eversley don't roll like that. Pat Riley is too smart to get caught up in stuff like that. You know what I'm saying? I'm not saying he ain't down with Tam. You know, Pat Riley is Pat Riley. You dig what I'm saying to you? But Pat Riley is smart enough not to get caught up in those kind of shenanigans. You know what I mean? He knows how to cover his tracks. He knows where the bodies are buried, and only he knows where the bodies are buried. All right? So the fact that they came out with these 2 second, man, I think that is exactly what it is. They didn't want to sledgehammer this for something real tiny, and they had to just take this way right here.
It's funny that you mentioned Riley and the Heat. We told y'all what the Bulls' official team statement was in response to the league's conclusion of their findings, saying basically like, cool, we participated, we cooperated, have a second, bye-bye now. The Heat's was like even more shade dropping towards the league, because they issued a statement that just said, while we disagree, we accept the league's decision. We are moving forward with our season. That is the Heat. We're like, oh, okay.
Honestly, I just feel like they were like, we got to take something. We've taken all these months. You know what I'm saying? This is months, Matt. Like, this has been going on for months. They've been doing this investigation. That means they were looking at everything because they could find nothing. That means they were looking at every single tiny detail, every hair, whatever. They were checking whatever they could check and couldn't really come up with anything. And I just love the shrewdness of Pat Riley and Miami Heat. It's such a Heat response. You know what I'm saying?
Heat response, right?
It's such a Heat response, man. All right, screw you. We ain't do nothing wrong. We going on, whatever, though. That is such a Heat response to this. And I really enjoy it. Because honestly, that's the AK and Eversley response. It's just not as shrewd. You know what I'm saying?
Right. Yeah. It was sort of like AK and Eversley was like, okay, this is over. Right. Have a lovely day.
Right, exactly.
And the Heat's response was like, shove it up your ass and have a lovely day.
Exactly.
So look, I think this league is going to carry on doing what it does, which is saying we want to do away with tampering. We're trying to trying to create an even playing field here,
Mhm.
and then kind of looking the other way and doling out a slap on the wrist when it's absolutely necessary. When in instances like this, it's pretty obvious that some level of league violations were taking place. But guess what? The good news is Lonzo Ball is still wearing a Bulls jersey, right? They didn't void the transaction.
Nope.
We didn't lose a first round pick.
Nope.
Let's revisit this conversation in 2026 and see how many times AK and Eversley have done beautiful, wonderful, smart things for us between now and then. Unfortunately, Dave, as we wrap up here really quick, some more breaking news came across our timeline. After morning practice, Billy Donovan just told Bulls media Coby White has tested positive for the coronavirus and will not be traveling with the team to New York. Brutal.
That stinks.
Awful timing for Coby, who had
stinks.
started to have some solid performances, trying to get his way back.
Yeah.
Knock off some of the rust, get confidence in his game back, and now will be out for the next several games.
Next several games, man. That stinks. There's no other way to say that. That stinks. Like you said, Matt, we talked about him getting reacclimated, you know what I'm saying, to this team and how important he's going to be because of the scoring punch that he adds to the Chicago Bulls. But man, to lose him now once he started kind of getting his feet under him and to now have to go out again, it feels like that stuff's been happening, you know what I'm saying, for the Bulls month after month. It's always something, you know what I'm saying, we're dealing with right here. But the good thing is we've been able to persevere so far through these things, you know what I'm saying, to be the second in the East right now. But dude, yeah, this stinks. It sucks. And honestly, I hope it stays to Coby. And I hope it's Coby and we don't have anybody else we have to say, well, this player is going to be out right now, man. But Coby, get better, please, man.
Yes. Positive thoughts sent in Coby White's direction. Hopefully he's okay and doesn't have severe symptoms, if any symptoms. Again, the Bulls are a 100% fully vaccinated team, so this is a breakthrough case for Coby White, much like it was for Vooch. And it's unfortunate and similar in ways with like Vooch struggling to start his season and then has to sit in quarantine. Right. Coby White struggled out of the gate coming back from injury and now has to sit in quarantine. Really, really unfortunate. But like you said, this Bulls team led by Billy Donovan have found ways to play shorthanded, and every team in the league is going through this right now. LeBron James just went into health and safety protocols last night.
Great point.
It's an unfortunate situation of how the league is operating this season, but it's where we are. So hopefully Coby's okay. Donovan also did have an update on Zach LaVine, who played through a non-COVID illness on Monday night. And the good news there is that he is still dealing with some of those symptoms, but will travel with the Bulls to New York. The Bulls face the Knicks tomorrow on Thursday evening. So any updates on that between now and tomorrow, we will touch on tomorrow's episode. Hopefully Coby White feels well, stays healthy, and will rejoin the team sooner than later. In the meantime, you can always hit us up on social media. I am at Bulls_Peck on Twitter, and Big Dave is at BAWL Sports. We are at Locked On Bulls, and there's that text to voicemail line for you for our mailbag episodes, 331-979-1369. Until tomorrow, that's Big Dave. I'm Matt. Thanks for listening. Thanks, everybody, sharing those screenshots, telling us that you've listened to us far too much in the year of 2021. But we appreciate it. See Red, be good. Peace out.